Hi, I'm Amy.
I'm Fox.
And Lewis.
And today we are talking about what it means to be transgender. What does it mean when someone says they're transgender?
So somebody who says that they're transgender, they don't feel connected to the gender that they're assigned at birth.
Could be that somebody identifies as the opposite, or it could be that somebody feels like they don't fit either of the boxes.
So being transgender can take many forms. Some people want to change their body, but a lot of people don't. They just want to be treated in a different way.
I always say there's two sides to transitioning. There's the social aspect and then the physical body aspect.
Some people might want to go down, the full route for medical transition, hormones and surgery. That's what that would mean. But other people feel that they just want to be acknowledged as maybe non-binary and they don't want to do any physical changes.
It is a misconception to say that hormones and surgery make you a man or make you a woman.
Yeah, you should be acknowledged as the gender that you are, regardless of how far you are on with your transition.
I know it can be quite daunting. There's all this confusing terminology that someone who's just kind of exploring might not understand. So can we talk through a little bit of that?
Trans with the asterisk or the star is an umbrella term for all things trans.
Non-binary or genderqueer.
A trans woman, a trans guy. If you identify as something other than the gender that you're assigned at birth, then you are in the trans star spectrum.
And you've mentioned two more words there, so that's non-binary and genderqueer.
Generally, it means that you don't fit the boxes of male or female, that you are perhaps somewhere in between, or you don't feel like either, and it's really down to the person as how, like, if you imagine male at one side and female at the other, where they are on that spectrum is down to the individual. I identify just as male, I'm right at the very end of this side. I think you're sort of a bit more non-binary, aren't you?
That's right,
you're a bit more along the spectrum.
I identify as non-binary.
So there's cisgender, which means there's someone who's kind of happy with the gender they were assigned at birth. Then there's passing. What does passing mean?
If someone's passing, it means that they are not being recognised as being trans, and that's problematic language in some ways, because the ultimate goal might be for nobody to know the trans history. Not everyone has that privilege.
You might think, oh, that person's not passing. How do you even know that they're trans? Do you know what I mean?
So there's a lot of acronyms that you use as well. We're thinking in particular of MTF and FTM, which mean male to female, female to male.
I no longer use the term female to male because for me it implies that I was female, and I think a lot of people find that problematic.
I actually do use the term FTM just kind of for simplicity, just because a lot of people out there know what it means. But I do completely understand where you're coming from. I think the only reason I'm okay with using it is just because it's like an acronym, FTM. A lot of people say to me, so like, you used to be a woman then, and I'm like, no, I've always been a guy, but just my body didn't match up to that.
We're using this language in these communities. It's all about just being considerate of what other people feel.
And language is changing so quickly, it's really evolving. So perhaps 4 or 5 years ago, we were using the word transsexual, and we wouldn't really use that anymore. Your own personal identification might not be what someone else's is, so just choose wording that feels comfortable to you.
And that's the most important thing, again, just being comfortable. I think it's quite normal as well for people to question their gender as they're growing up, and that might settle down, and that's completely okay. Or you might kind of feel, actually, no, I do want to make some changes. So for someone in that position, what do you think kind of the first things you should do?
Clothing is something that they can do quite easily, and you can put something on and really feel different about yourself.
Guys and girls' clothing, it's not really a thing. It's something we've been told that girls should dress this way, guys should dress this way. With girls, when they dress in boys' clothes, they're just labelled as a tomboy, not a big deal. But if a little boy wants to wear a dress, there's a lot of stigma attached to that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be transgender. It doesn't mean they're going to be gay.
Another thing is the name change as well. So even if you don't change your name legally yet, you can decide upon a new name for yourself and maybe say, I just want to try out this name for now, and maybe just this week, just let's see how it goes. Same with the pronouns as well. Maybe consider calling me he or they, obviously, if you're a non-binary person.
It can be quite difficult, I think, for young people to say to their parents, what you've been referring to me as my entire life, that's not what I feel is right.
The first thing someone needs to recognise is that you're not doing anything wrong, and it's okay to tell someone that actually that name doesn't really suit me, or I'm having problems when I look in the mirror and I don't really see a reflection of myself. Perhaps a letter would be really helpful to try and write something down.
Something that really helped me was showing my mum videos of people that are transitioned, because I think a lot of parents are just scared. I wanted to show my mum positive stories of people that have transitioned. They look good, they are happy and healthy, have relationships. steps. You have to be over 16 to be on hormones and make permanent changes. You don't have to jump straight into surgeries and things. There's no harm in trying out, letting that kid explore their gender. Nothing's permanent, there's no harm in it, and it just helps them discover who they are.
It's okay, whatever transitioning and being transgender means to you, as long as you are happy and comfortable.
That's the
Definitely,
most important thing.
yeah. And I guess people in your life just have to respect that, even if people don't quite understand it to begin with.
It can be very difficult to take that first step, and I just want to say, Childline counsellors are always there.
I felt like I couldn't talk about it for such a long time, and when I finally did, I did feel a lot of shame about it, and it took a lot to get those words out. Throughout my teenage years, I had no respect for myself, my body, or anything like that, and I'd hate for any other young person to have to go through that. It doesn't have to be like that, and not be waiting like, oh, when I've got this, then I'm going to be happy. Don't wait to be happy. You can kind of take small steps to feel better about yourself, today.
And now we want to hear from you guys. How do you think we can make sure that society is better educated about trans issues? Make sure you let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.